morning.
I can understand. Okay, just one quick question. Who 215416? Whose number is this? 215416. I haven't saved this number, so I really couldn't. The basic use case, most probably, is it Usha's number?
This is my number, Rupanjali.
Okay, Deepanjali, thanks. I'll just write it down. Rupanjali, sorry. Yes. I'll save this thing.
Yeah, 5416, right?
Yeah, 5416. That's right. Okay, great. So let's start. So we've seen Excel, right? So we understood why we use Excel. Why we use basically, trying to use the most used tool, try to get it adapted to our needs, right? As in business analysts, what we do, we try to understand requirement, we try to elicit, we try to evolve the requirement, we try to think it through as how we can implement these requirements, these need, which were shared by client, by the document of BRD, or by meeting, or by a conference call. There could be many means, there could be many different channels through which we got this information. But the end of the day, what we need to understand, we need to create system requirement document, or we could basically evolve this document from vision scope. Also, there are quite a few product company who call the BRD as a vision scope document. So the vision and scope come from client. Then as a business analyst, I start working on it. Hi Santosh, good evening. Okay, so we get the vision scope document. We can call it BRD, business requirement document, or an email with bulleted points, or an Excel sheet with a table with whatever. And that on that basis of document, email, or bullet points, we try to evolve a document called system requirement specification, right? And that's the overall ownership of BA. That's what BA does day in, day out. That's what BA builds the overall the vision and scope for the company which I am working for, right? We talked about Infosys, we talked about State Farm. State Farm is my client. I am working with Infosys with my PM or sales manager, and I gone to State Farm meeting to understand the requirement. And the VP HR or the CIO or CTO, while meeting us, he or she told us we need to enhance our attendance management system due to 6-7 reasons, whatever they've discussed in the meetings, or conference call, or even Zoom meeting, whatever. It depends. Only thing is that the information we get from client, which normally referred as a client supplied materials in the form of email, Excel sheet, pictures, minutes of meeting, we try to build system requirement specification, which have couple of things. We've seen the template also, so we need to fill in those blanks. We need to use our analysis, we need to use our thought process, we need to use our imagination, and try to understand more about this requirement, get it clarified from this client, and build the requested blank space within our SRS, right? Any confusion in this, any complications in this, anybody?
No.
If this base is clear, you're good to go. Almost 75-80% you're good to go. You can start working, because you have, I think, worked on the basic tool sets overall, which is required for a BA. Now we are going to venture into other tools. Means there are couple of them remaining. We go through them. These are tools not commonly used, but there are some companies which basically try to they are using these tools from so long that they don't change to other tools. So this can be a tools which you have to include screenshot in your SRS, or these are the tools which basically you present it to the top management whenever they sanction this project, product, or support for a long-term engagement, right? So we are talked about business attendance system enhancement, which we discussed for State Farm as an employee of Infosys. I try to present this in terms of first use case diagram, then I present the SRS document by itself. I share the document via company portal, right? Because the company portal manages the whom to share, whom not to share, and all those things. So I don't have to worry about. I'll just send an email. Please have a look at this link, and please feed me with your suggestion. This is a draft, and we'll basically release it whenever I feel this, if it's in a conclusive state, right? That's how the BA progress. So when you release the first release, right, in a conclusive state, it's called first release. Now whenever the suggestions come after that, this first release is basically kind of approval document from the authority, which is mentioned in the quality management service of Infosys. If the quality management system tells you your project manager is your approval authority, your sales manager is approval authority, or CIO, CTO, CEO, MD, whoever it may be, whenever he says, okay, these documents look okay to me, you can publish it for you can publish it for release 1, and so on and so forth. So in that scenario, we are trying to basically build these SRS and present it, and then to support our claims, we create Excel sheet, we create these graphs, we create these good looking tables, and so that whatever we have mentioned, whatever we have researched, whatever we have explaining the idea to do, we do it through Excel, we do it through other tools, whichever is good, better, or something. Sometimes we use the product client website, like in our case we talked about Philips iris scanner, Sony iris scanner. So we can go on website, and during presentation we can present those options available for the product or project implementation. This is important because the project team is going to use your advice, use your research and development, and if they feel they can research it further, that's their ball game. So the FRS creation, FRS detailing is project manager's responsibility, or whoever is basically leading the team for the product, project, or support. So it can be support manager, he or she can be product manager. There could be many labels, but normally that person is in charge of execution or building of that product, project, or service throughout its life cycle. So as a role, he is going to take it over from you. So whatever you keen in, whatever you thought, whatever you created in BA is going to get implemented, and you will review those documents in a approver capacity, advisor capacity, and you're going to keep a close watch on the progress of it, right? So whenever you release this document, your responsibility of the said product or project reduces to 20%. You're working on a project, it's 100%. So for 2 or 3 weeks, I work on this document called SRS. I use all those supporting factors, supporting tools to build my SRS more and more effective to present. When I present, it's got released first, right? If there are any updates, or if there are any additions from client side, I'll add it to it and then release another version of it. That can be 2 months from the first draft. That can be next week from the first draft. Depends on organizational processes, depends on how client wants to add it to the SRS. SRS is a released document, so it has a label, it has a name attached with the release. So whenever I say 1.1.1.1, that's my a release label, that's what they call it. Or you can say released on 12th November 2020. So that can be also a release label. Okay, we will study this label, we'll study the release mechanism for a document in our quality control, quality assurance system. It's a part of QMS which is built for the company which you are working on, right? So this way I attach to organizational policies and procedure as a BA, and I follow the procedure. That's a kind of guidance path for my working. And everyone basically trains you on these things, right? In and out. So whenever you join a company, it's called overall the induction program normally, but there could be couple of other labels as well. So these are what you can say quality system implemented in my organization as a matured IT system, or any domain company for that matter. So this quality system I follow, right? And that's the gist of the business analyst overall. And we're going to learn the flora and fauna now, because basic BA training is going to get over in next 3 or 4 sessions, right? Like say 6 or 8 hours from now, 8 hours of training from now. So we are in almost final stages. So your practice does make it really, really important, right? We're going to have a workshop at the end of this week as well. Try to understand how the how the BRD looks like, how the ORL SRS you're going to work on, what are you include, and then we'll discuss it one by one, so that whatever SRS you create, That's the kind of output expected from BA. And then there are all other supporting factors as well, like use case diagram is a need, Excel is a need, because you're trying to present yourself, right? So we're going to have a workshop where we're going to learn how SRS created and distributed by BA. That's what we're going to have hands-on workshop. And then we'll start on mostly Scrum Agile. So you want to understand how to basically get attached with the quality framework which as organization have, how to work within the group, within the meeting, how we disperse our information which we have created, right? And then we're going to understand the quality assurance factor of it and the quality control of it. And then we're going to have a really good week span SRS use case diagram and the use of any of these tool sets, whichever you are comfortable in, because you need to understand these tools. We need to basically build on that, whatever we learned and whatever we grasp. There is a favorite, yes, there can be favorite, means there's a tool which you believe I could use this extensively well. It can be as simple as Excel, it can be as complicated as that fishbone diagram. It depends on your personality, it depends on organizational requirement. So whenever we try to understand a tool, we need to take into consideration what my organization prefer, right? Because these are organizational processes. Most of the time, 99%, you normally go with use case and Excel. That's all, and Microsoft Word, because that's where the template is. There could be a company, they might use fishbone diagram if it's a Japanese or Chinese company, right? Because they were using that thing from last 40 odd years. They could use something like activity diagram, they could use workflow diagram, and so on and so forth. So they could be in number of tools, or they might have a pen and paper also. So you just click a photo with your cell phone and share it across. That's also happens. So it depends on organization, it depends on where you go, and we are there to help you. So don't worry on that part. The basic need right now is to understand how business analyst works, right? Because that's what we're going to excel. I believe you got the hang of it, you got the basics of it. Now we're going to build on this. This is like going from 75% to 80%. Now this is, you need to put in efforts, this is you need to learn, and I'm going I'll there with you to help you out on this, right? And the Excel sheet which I have seen really good, use case diagram really good, means Dipanjali, that basic use case, means it's really good example of use case. Only thing is it's quite elementary or kind of a very first level type of use case, because it depicts the basic processes, right? We want to understand, like the ATM thing which we saw in a video, right? She goes on building next level. We'll have a look at it, don't worry on that part. Okay, so right now keep practicing, keep building your thoughts, right? Let's continue on this thing. So we have seen Excel. It's easy, cost effective, because everybody has this. It's not cost effective because cheap, it's not economical. But yes, as we learning Excel or using Excel from so long, we and we have on almost each and every laptop, so we take it as a cost effective. Then there are open system available, free options available, like Libre worksheets and all those things also, right? And it's better for ad hoc analysis. So we just keep adding it to it. There's no release to it. It can be live, means if you're working with Office 360, whatever you do on your Excel sheet get uploaded within seconds. Have anybody used Office 360 here?
365.
Office 360. It's a latest version of Office, Microsoft Office. Excel is a part of Microsoft Office.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, you use, good. So so whenever I used Office 360 on my tab, mobile or laptop, the updates are very frequent, real time. So whatever you change, it gets updated there, right? And the software which the Office 360 attached to keeps us the track of release, who, when, and then approval, and so on and so forth. So you don't have to worry about that. It's like simply using pen and paper, and don't worry about distribution part of it. So whenever I work on draw a diagram, everybody sees it. So something like that sort. Even if it's residing in different part of the globe, or the other side of the earth, and so on and so forth. So that's right, the kind of evolvement we have in terms of Excel, in terms of what you can say, progress what we have in terms of tool enhancement. So that's, we'll also understand. Don't worry about that part. But yeah, it's a kind of evolution and understanding which we need to know, because whenever you change, it gets released, right? So whatever you do live, you need to think it through and then you need to do it. Or otherwise, when you say save or release, it goes to everybody. So till you click that button, you need to really think it through whatever you submitted. However, you're going to submit your new enhancement to your sheet and all those things, right? So this is called release cycle. We're going to understand in Agile. We're going to understand in QA/QC as well. Okay. And yeah, Excel is worldwide. There's a interportability to other system like CVS is the sheet standard. CVS we discussed. Excel is known as XLS or EXLS now when you talk about Office 360 and 2016 onwards. But that's XLS file format, and there's a CVS which is common across all the other operating system. If you heard of Unix, Linux, Android, these are different operating system. We use Windows predominantly on a laptop. There are laptop who use Apple, Apple laptop or Apple tablets. Though the format which these guys use, CVS is a common. XLS, they have the compatibility overall, so they can get converted. But some Unix system or a system like CGI, Silicon Graphics, these are graphical system, they don't use XLS. So you have to save it as a CVS. But yeah, every organization or everything, they will teach you on this. But I just want to share with you as an thought process, as a in the progress of learning together, those kind of scenario, right? And yes, there are really good archival system, good source control system attached with Excel. So you don't have to really worry about the retaining, the release cycle, and the interportability of those things, right? Any confusion at this moment?
No.
Okay, great. We'll go ahead. Great, no problem. Okay, so okay, we had a look at this, right? So next one. Okay, tools are, so we've seen table, right? What do you mean by table? We've seen the graphs, chart, pie, those graphs, and we've seen pivot tables. Don't worry, we'll practice on pivot tables at the end of the training also, right? And then we see the train charts, which is kind of extension of pie chart or graph, which we've seen in couple of those graphs. Then we understood the sorting and filtering data from the header road, how to we sort and those things. We've seen creating charts and graph, and there are most commonly used tools within Excel. That's what we've seen, and it's really great. I really appreciate your hard work, appreciate your overall the way you've done in terms of even color coding and all those things. So it's really excellent representation. That's what I can say, means from all of you. I believe we have all except Santosh and Deepanjali, right? Or who else basically haven't presented yet? Rudra, Deepanjali, and who else?
Excel I didn't reply.
Come again, please.
Me.
I present.
I'm there, Sheetal.
Sheetal, yes. Sheetal, Rudra, Deepanjali. Three guys are here to present, right? Who wants to go first? Let's do it.
You.
Who wants to go first? I'll okay, let me stop this share and let me basically let you start the I'll say stop share. Okay, who wants to go first? Deepa,
I'm going first. Sheetal.
yeah, please just
If you
say
want to,
start
you can go
share.
ahead. Deepa or some. Not Deepanjali, Rupanjali. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rupanjali, are you going first or shall I wait? I can wait. No problem.
So you want me to share that the
Excel sheet. Use case and Excel.
diagram?
Yes, please.
Okay, I will share. Just let me see how to do that. Just 1 second.
You have to click on the bottom. You can, okay, it's coming up. I will. Could you see share screen at the bottom of your, yeah.
I can't see the share screen thing. That's what I'm checking.
Could you speak a bit louder because I couldn't hear you? Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I'm saying I can't see the
Can
share thing. Just give me a minute, okay?
Yeah, take it.
okay,
Yeah,
I'll go
Peter, if
meanwhile
you want, you
because
can
I was
share
able
by
to
chat.
share. Yeah, I was trying actually. I didn't realize that I already shared it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Take
Shall
that's
it.
I
why
No,
go?
no.
I couldn't see the share thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we need to do this more because it'll be part of our life whenever we learn, because it'll going to be a online meeting when you're going to work. So this is a learning as well. So wow.
This is a bit.
Could you rotate it clockwise or anti-clockwise, 90
I'm
degrees?
looking back the option. Wait, I need to.
शेयर वाला मिल ही नहीं रहा था, कहाँ से शेयर करते हैं?
We could see really great colored image. Only thing is
Yeah,
that it's coming vertical on my laptop.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
अरे नहीं दिख रहा.
We rotate. Okay, ఇలా చేయొచ్చా?
Right? The base case, and then name.
My basic use case is to make a team, and this includes this section, and this.
ये क्या हुआ? इसने फिर से अलग वो बता दिया. हाँ?
ఇది అవ్వట్లే. Let me wait. Let me try this. No, it's not showing. Edit option. Okay.
Any problem which I can help you on?
Can I go now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So can you guys see?
Yeah, we can see WhatsApp. Yeah, we can see the use case diagram. That's good.
Okay. So my basic thing was to make a tea. For that,
Mhm.
this is like
As we discussed. Perfect.
yeah, as we discussed.
Right. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the primary actor, and that's me, and this is the
Mhm.
secondary actor, my husband. So we wanted to like have tea together.
Mm-hmm.
So make tea was the base case, and for that the first thing we need to do was like boiling the water, and
Right.
this is like a include base case because use case because the water is the mandatory thing. Yeah. And then the second was like adding ginger. Ginger I put as a extended because not everybody drinks ginger, but we prefer to add ginger. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I add the ginger. So then next was like adding tea powder. Again, the tea powder was like mandatory. It was not optional.
Mm-hmm.
So it includes one. And after that, add milk. So milk is again conditional. Some people like to put milk, some people doesn't. And as we prefer to add milk, that's why I put it there, but I keep it as an extended.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last
Yep.
was not exactly last, but it's a filter tea. So that is also again mandatory thing. So it was
Great.
included. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. This is really great. It encompasses everything except these are all, how do I put it? It's a great start, right? Why I'm saying start,
Yeah,
because
actually,
it depicts. Don't take it otherwise. See, we are just discussing among group because this is what the project manager or a solution architect or a CIO CTO whom you are reporting to will say. See, we are learning that's really great. You learned really well in understanding the theoretical concept. Now there's a bit of gap in practical applicability, the way I want to share with you. because you draw basic sketch, but if you don't fill color or don't fill something like the gaps in between, you call it gradient, you call it face color, skin color, background color, and so this is a complete drawing. You did the sketch very well, means excellent. That's what I would really want to appreciate. But what I would really means, I want you to evolve yourself rather than me forcing you, because this is your thought process, this is your vision, right? That's what it it came really good. Only thing what I really request you, have a look at the girls video. I believe you have that girls video, right? That use case diagram wala.
I think I didn't see the video. Whatever you taught yesterday. I mean the last.
No,
class,
that's okay. That's
I
what I
just
need.
saw only.
You got that very clearly. Only thing, we need to go deep. We need to go ahead. We need to go in bit of depth of it. So have a look at that video. I believe you have that thing on my on your WhatsApp. So whenever at your leisure,
it's my
not right
video,
now. Huh. Okay,
Yeah.
and try to understand
So-
what are the gaps. We'll discuss it. Only I want you to learn first, and then I'll guide you on that. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That is okay. So I wanted to know, like, am I missing the things in that?
No.
Or
You're not missing anything. Believe me. Your sketch is complete.
okay.
Only thing, this look bit superficial from a practical angle. This is not a bad remark. See, there's no wrong or right here. We need to present our vision. So your vision clearly, crisp and clear. So there's no doubt about that. Right?
So do I
But
need more
we need to go
details?
deeper into it. We need to go deeper into it. Okay. See, there's no benchmark for it. So whatever you did is excellent. No doubt about that. Right. But now we need to go to the next step. So it's a kind of your thought process evolution. So rather than me guiding you, I would really like you to understand it and draw the second diagram. And mostly within our next session we'll have a look at it, right? And then you could really able to describe it, where I stopped, or you might have to spend a bit more time. That's what I'll say right now, because I couldn't think why you stopped on this. But there's no wrong here. The vision is clear, and you have the system boundaries. You have even prime actor, secondary actor, everything very correct. So I really like the efforts you put in. Now just try to dig deep in. That's all I'll say. Okay.
Sure, I will do that. Yeah.
Thank you. Have you worked on the Excel sheet?
Not really. Actually, we are traveling to India tomorrow, so I was like kind of busy with those things. So
Sorry.
maybe when I
for that.
will reach India, after that maybe I will get time to see the videos and work on it.
No problem. So which part of India are you coming to?
I'm going to Lucknow.
Oh wow, Richa is in Lucknow. Richa, she's going to start on Scrum and Agile, mostly from next Monday or so. So she's in Lucknow also. That's good.
Okay,
Lucknow is really cold now, but not colder in US though. But it's really cold. I believe yesterday it was like 12 or something. I was discussing for the training plan with Richa yesterday. I came to Nagpur. I came to Mumbai from Nagpur yesterday. So we were discussing how we could go ahead and those things. So just starting out those logistics. So that's really good. Chalo, happy journey. And
Thank you.
Even throughout the journey, you can watch the video on mobile or whenever you get time. And let's go to the next level. Okay. Who else want to go next?
I will go.
Come again, please.
Yeah.
Rudra, could you please go? Shita, no problem. Shita, great, no problem. Wow. You couldn't share Excel, kya? Or this is like, you're picturing your laptop through a mobile camera.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, this is much better, I guess.
So couldn't you share the application on the laptop?
Share means actually I'm on my mobile phone, so that's why I'm unable to
So
share.
you logged in via mobile. So you could send this Excel sheet to. But okay, no problem. Let's have a look at it. But then we couldn't zoom it really. Or could you share the Excel sheet with me on WhatsApp or share with everybody else? so that I can display it for you.
Okay, sure. 1 minute. I'll share it.
Take your time, no problem.
Meanwhile, Rudra can go. I can share it.
Yeah, Rudra, could you please go ahead?
Yes, 1 second.
Sure.
Right. Thanks to everyone. Happy Diwali. This is Rudra. Here, let me share my screen. Sharing. So here's first thing, we got a use case, right?
Right. Yes.
So I made a use case diagram of an exercise app. This is the customer, login, includes up here. And then we got the login includes verify login. And if it doesn't verify login, then you extend the login error. Then we move on to record distance, right? I did these 4 things: record distance, start workout, and login. Record distance includes syncing a GPS, so it records the distance, tells you at the end. Oh, and this is the app company over here. I got cut out, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
That's, yeah, pretty much self-explanatory. So start workout includes the start video, and then
Right.
extends.
It's good. It's great effort. Thing is that, how do I say it? Let me think it through. The secondary actor might not be the app itself rather than app company, because app is basically replying it to the whole, or rather, no. Again, pardon me for that. App is your what you can say, system, right? The customer is logging into app, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the system is app, and then you have app company as a secondary actor. Does that sound a bit, bit of conflict to you, or?
Sorry, say it again. What?
See, your system is your application. It can be mobile, Windows, web, or whatever application it is, right? That system boundary, that rectangular blocks you have drawn, that's your system, right? That's your exercise app system, right? The system itself encompasses the company, because it's developed by the company owns it overall. So app company is inherently part of the whole application. That's how the way we see it philosophically. How can I put it? When I say my mother, father, they are part of me. When I say my company, I'm the part of company, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm a subset of the company. This is a kind of mathematical in a scenario, and logical the way we have learned or the way we have grown up to. So whenever I'm a part of the thing, I couldn't put small part as a actor or primary actor or secondary actor.
Oh, I should have put customer support then.
No, you can put app database. App database is a logical part, or you don't have to put anything, frankly speaking. It's understood that database includes app. The company who is developed the app is a part of that app.
Exactly. I didn't know, there's many moving parts. So I was just like, easy.
Yeah, and then it's not moving part. It's basically, see, we have a superset and there are subset. Means we have a thali, we have chawal, rice, dal, or those are entity of a thali. So when I refer thali as my item which I am referring to, dal, chawal, roti is a part of it, right? So it's kind of encompasses the whole system boundary. So you don't have to draw the secondary actor every time. That's really good learning, frankly speaking. So secondary actors are not needed, or those are understood by the vigilantes or by the guys who are attending you. And if they ask, you can present the app company will the app will respond internally. Use case is basically for who is starting the action and what action, how the action gets executed, rather than who actually supporting the action. Supporting the action, if you can, mention, well and good, but this is we do it indirectly mostly, because when you learn the level of use case diagrams, I really don't want to go to a level where we start really discussing or doing a PhD on use case. But yes, use case, when you draw a system is my whole stuff which I'm concentrated about. Actors, well, actors can be prime element, so actor and use case. So a guy who is doing what is my main intention, right? Now, how do I go in depth? I explain what he's doing in steps, in sequence, and then whatever attached to that sequence, whatever attached to that use case or the functionality, I depict inside the box, because it's happening within my system boundaries. The system supporting it. If I want exclusively to mention, I'll normally mention as in database, because database supplies the data to the application, right? So when I say designed app is my one location boundary or one boundary which I'm concerned about, which I'm going to design, then application or database is a supporting factor. So that's how database can be represented as a secondary factor, but not the developer, not the project manager, not the system itself, like you shown. It again, I'll say it's not right or wrong. It's basically sounds a bit illogical. Think it through. Means we can debate on that, but it's basically improving our thought process. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say, Rudra?
Yeah, yes, perfectly.
In
Yep.
short, sorry, sir. In
No,
short,
go ahead, please.
yeah, in short, actor is just not an individual, it's just a role. And the use case diagram is all about the actors and their interaction with the system.
Perfectly said. Perfect. Really right. That's great.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Could you repeat that, please? Yeah. Hello?
Yes.
I believe Rudra couldn't hear it. Could you please repeat that for us?
Okay. Just primary actor or secondary actor is just, it's not individual, it's just a role. And the use case diagram is all about the actors and their interaction with the system. The use case diagram is all about that.
Okay. All right.
Rudra, does that make sense?
Yeah. Got it.
Great, no problem. Let's go ahead. Yes, please explain your Excel sheet.
Okay, so I did all the ones in the video, and I did expenses over a 6-week period. This is the week, and then these are the items: car maintenance, gas control, house maintenance.
Could you zoom in a bit so that we could read the numbers and all? Yes, perfect. Please go ahead.
Okay, so week 1, these are just arbitrary numbers. They don't really mean anything. But
I know. We just present our thoughts. That's the intention here. Please go ahead.
So then I did random numbers for gas, house maintenance, groceries, and online shopping, right? Just to have another category. So then I did a bar graph. So this would be gas, house maintenance, groceries, and then online shopping. And you can see each week.
Right.
And expenses over 6 weeks. You can see the labels, right? Coordinate.
Perfect.
And then this one, for some reason, it was only showing week 1 when I did this. And that was because when I did this, I selected the whole thing. And
let me tell you why. Because normally that chart type is made for one row chart or one column chart rather. Means it took the label and took the first column which you selected. The rest is basically I believe how Usha did it. You have to click somewhere and you get that drop down and you can go to the next week and week, something like that.
Okay.
So don't worry. Whatever is showing, it's perfectly right. See, these types are specifically designed for some purpose, and we'll learn that some purpose whenever you start working with it. It's like when I want to basically try to understand expense, one graph can tell you more than the other graph. This happens, and this is how they are designed. and there are some graphs who are better used in some domains, some part, some graphs are not, and so on and so forth. So this is like kind of learning internally. But why I suggest you to total number of graphs or chart, because then we'll start comparing it whenever we present, whenever we build the actual presentation, whenever we try to explain a particular problem or a particular domain. Okay, so you did really right. That's a limitation of the tool itself. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'd definitely love to learn how to do the next week, but that's cool. We can save that for another time.
Right.
And then I did this one. The chart title. I didn't do that. Sorry. But this was the other one. I forgot what this one was called. But
no problem. Yeah, let's go ahead.
And this another one of those.
Right.
This is the combined one combo. And then this one was the 6 weeks one.
Yeah, this is the donut one.
Yeah,
donut chart.
This one was cool. I did all of the weeks. So
right. And it's really good. Means, have you seen, if you explain this to a research guy, he'll really thank you that. To put this chart on pen and paper, it really used to take months work. Means if you could really analyze or understand how much effort and sweat gone into plotting that graph. The tool does it for us in seconds, but overall it's really difficult to understand. See, it tells you about the total circle, it tells you about the total execution period, and then step by step it explains different entities exhaustion period, right? This is really deep dive into data. This is really what you call analyzing the data at the nth level. So I'm trying to understand the execution period for 6 weeks in sequence for different entities, like car maintenance, house maintenance, groceries, online shopping. These are different entities. These are different elements which are basically put progressively in a circular, or what you can say, total evolution circular period. I don't want to really throw you the what you can say hard words to you, but you'll come across whenever you start actual on job, and that's really fun of it. You might not really explain how that graph was not created, but how that graph was presented. But it's really great art. Believe me, that tool have matured as an Excel, matured to nth level details and greatness. And you really use the labels very well, thanks to you. And I believe, I think donor chat will be our most likely charts or most used chart throughout our workshop. So really great efforts, Rudra. Thanks a lot. Anything else you want to add?
Oh no, that was it. You got it.
Okay, thanks, Rudra. It's really great effort, and please keep it up.
Sure.
Sheetal, do you want to go ahead, please? Wow, look at the donut chart. It's still looking stunning. I really like your, color sense, or, what you call the overall pictorial representation of it. Even your tables look stunning, believe me. Those gradients and all, they are, I don't know, what all you say, means I really like the color combination of these things. Could you please zoom in on a table? Yes, wow. Look at that. It's just simple click, but it really enhances the whole, depicting of figures, right? Yep. Could you please go ahead, Shitu?
I'm not able to hear Sheetal. Is she talking?
Yeah, I believe some, problem with her mic or something.
Okay.
Sheetal, could you unmute yourself? I believe you forgot to unmute, most probably. No, but we can see your, mic icon cleared up.
Now can you hear me?
Oh yeah, great. Thank God. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I have basically taken a sari business for this purpose.
Wow.
So these are the varieties of saris which generally people appreciate most So this is the calculation of about that one.
I can
Based
understand.
on,
Yes, and Diwali on the
right around the
8th.
corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. Please go ahead.
So the sales are based on first trimesters, second trimesters, third trimester, and average sales throughout the year. So this first table I created using the pivot table, this recommended charts actually. And the second table, I don't know how it went. I selected something here.
Second table in the sense that chart showing the sales among sari, this one?
Yeah, the chart showing the sales amongst the sari business. I'm sorry about the spelling mistakes. I'm bad.
No. See, we are learning, no? There's nothing called, sorry or those things.
Yeah.
It's
so this table, I actually got 3 or 4 different tables in which I had tried filtering out everything. I played with the filters in that.
Right.
And
Mostly the way I see it, I believe you're using some macros which are, might be from a third-party product, or have you installed anything in Excel as an add-on or something?
No, I haven't added anything as an add-on.
But believe me, that Excel tool itself is so mature, even I'm learning. Means I find it quite a few new things whenever, you play around. So this is good. Okay. It's basically related to the data which we have created. So it's nothing contradictory in the scenario, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay, no problem. Let's go ahead.
So I was actually working on it, and my daughter had to try on her hands on these charts. She took my
I can understand.
Yeah. So this table, I will find out how I did this.
No problem.
And then here is the chart tile, which was like recommended from the above.
Right.
And this one.
Wow.
And the donut part is my daughter's selection, basically.
Wow, it's really good. Only I believe, if you put in label, let's try to include labels there. Because that
I was trying that. Yeah, exactly. I was trying the labels, but I couldn't find out. I have to do
I believe somebody in a group, put in the label on the chart, on the donut basically itself. Who did it? It was really phenomenal. Means the way it's a representation, I really love that thing. Pavni, have you did that thing?
Yes, I did.
Could you please guide others as well whenever you have time? Means we can have it in next session or something, because that's really good learning.
Only on the pie, only on the donut, or others too?
On the donut, basically, because that was really, astonishing. That's what I'll say. And it really, I know the Rudra's colors are also good. Means the way it shows the overall depiction of colors. But if you include labor there, it will take you to another level. This is like singing at its best kind of scenario.
Or is that anything related to latest Excel version or something?
No, nothing like that. Okay, these charts haven't been updated from, I think, 2010 onwards. If you go to Microsoft site, Microsoft Office, Excel as a product, and try to understand additions in the latest Excel version, they have added the network ability. They have added the web add-ons and those things. They haven't basically changed much in charts, but they've added the pivot chart. Pivot charts functionality have been changed to a great level, but not the chart ones. These are quite old, and these are already kind of matured functionality which we use. So don't worry, it's really good. It's a kind of learning for all of us. So if you could, if you could share across, if you could really, work together, that's going to help us. And believe me, most probably the way I'm looking at it, you might work as a team if possible.
Maybe we should do a project together. So then.
No, we'll do. We'll have that workshop, right? And we'll also debate. We'll also compare our work, and we'll, basically learn many things from each other as well. So I don't want to be the only trainer here. I want you to also, put in good words, good efforts. And we'll learn. Even I learn. Even for that matter, use case, I learn. I really try to understand the philosophy more. I try to build in my thought process more clearer and crisp. That's how we learn. So don't feel bad about, doing anything wrong or doing, anything bit out of the context or something. But it helps us to learn. Okay. So really, really great work. And thanks to you, the color combination I like the most. Right. Anything else you want to add?
Nothing here.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Sheetal. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to go ahead?
Yeah. Actually, you could change it in the styles, like put the labels on there. But when I did it, it was very
Could
jumbled
you
up.
please show us by any means?
Yeah.
Pardon me, if I'm asking too much.
So, see.
Could you please magnify it?
You see, there's
Yes.
When I did this, where was this? Chart design, yes. Right. So it'd just be like this. It'd be all like jumbled up. Like you can't really differentiate which is which, So it's just.
No, I believe there's a way to have, no, that's percentage, okay. I believe there's a way she did it, the label goes across the chart, not the horizontal one. Means it's like a word art in Microsoft Word. If you used the word art, basically you can create stamp like, these things. Again, these are showing horizontally.
Let's see.
Okay, no problem. We'll learn together. Don't worry on that part. There's a bit of R&D to be done, and it's a kind of overall tools understanding and tools learning. So that's great. No problem.
Okay.
Sure. So let's go ahead. Thanks a lot, Rudra. And let's basically learn and let's work together overall. That's what I want to say here. And yeah, let me start on that. So we are really learning Excel well and good. I really like the efforts you put in, and we are really improving a lot. Even I am learning. Even I don't know how to put those labels across the donut chart and all those things. So that's a kind of finding. We need to do it together and learn it together. Okay. So I want you to be in a chair of trainer. I want you to be in basically sharing your thought process. The vision sharing or vision evolution is the basic work analysts do. Okay. I couldn't stress this enough, because we take a business idea, we wrap it in different wrappers, different templates, different tools, and present it to our company where we work on as a business analyst, and build or release it in a product idea. That's the basic work of a business analyst. So you analyze the business to implement it as a product, project, or services. That's the definition of analysis or business analysis in a typical IT segment or in a typical companies which we work on. Okay. Any confusions here?
No.
We've seen this video. I'll not go ahead. We'll see. Pivot tables also we'll do pivot tables at the end of the training, whenever we have all the 4 weeks consumed of 4 to 5 weeks consumed as of training, and then we'll go deep dive into pivot tables as well. Okay, so that decision making thing we will understand in depth there and then, because then you'll understood the overall tools and the environment requirement as well, for that matters. We've seen this thing. We had a look at mind map in depth. Okay, so it's basically try to evolve an idea, try to present the alternatives to the or evolution to the attendees in a presentation. We had a look at product map. Product map is basically kind of overall how the product will get conceptualized, how it will go to a level where it's get actually created in the material world, and the overall process of it, right? We've seen this. I believe we discussed on that. We had a video of product map. We've seen the strength, weakness, opportunity, threats analysis. This is for each and every qualifying idea, qualifying entity in terms of evolved business vision, so that we can understand which is more important, which is less important, which is on a very top priority. These are basically guided by the clients, as in State Farm in our normal example, but I need to present it to even our company or our organization which I'm working for, so that they'll prioritize accordingly. So SWOT analysis is not required for everybody, but there are companies who normally build SWOT scores. They have some templates in Excel to have validated each and every functionality you put in, and weight it according to the whole backbone of scenario or whole backbone of business idea, like we discussed attendance management system. So choosing Philips or choosing Sony based iris scanner, is it aligned? Yes, it's a requirement. It's a basic requirement. It's enhancing the overall HR system. So it's a need. It's a top priority. Then we go and do research. Then we go and put our efforts in analyzing or comparing the Sony versus Philips iris scanners, right? And then we'll present it. So where to put in efforts and where to actually channelize the whole efforts of the project team as well can be defined, can be analyzed by using SWOT analysis, right? And there are other ways to do it. There's a fishbone diagram. So we normally try to basically have a basic idea across backbone. We try to create alternatives. We try to create different ideas explanation along the fishbones, and then we'll explain it, we'll present it, right? The color coding can be organizational discipline which we follow via quality management system, right? And we basically understood the cause and effect. It's also called as Ishikawa diagram. Then we had a look at process flow diagram. These are kind of advanced flow chart. We use swim lanes for concurrent flows and other things basically, right? Then now we're going to have workflow diagram today, right? Workflows diagram is basically how the product is going to work in actual life. We're going to analyze how each and every user, like we seen in actor in use case diagram, is going to get interacted by each and every step. So when I talked about, let's say, our attendance management system enhancement, right? Here the employee is the user, right? Whoever comes in the morning, he swipes his finger, retina, full body scan, whatever we implemented in the system. So we need to understand the system functioning from his angle, as an usability, as an user's angle, right? So we try to understand the use activity, its shapes, its evolution, how it reacts with the system, and depict those things, right? So we normally build help file, best practices, a digitization of our overall process map, and try to depict it, try to present it in workflow diagram. Okay, let's have a quick look at this video, small video, workflow diagram. Let me open that thing for you. Come on. Okay, I have to stop share. This video will basically show us how the overall workflows are depicted and how we could use it to leverage our business analysis skills, right? So let me start this thing. Start screen share, workflow diagram. Could you see this, gentleman?
Yeah.
Process mapping is widely used around the business world.
Could you hear? Could you view this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sure.
Often it becomes highly complex, so that people just end up rolling their eyes and not using it. It's used primarily for IT projects, and that's really a pity because there's potential.
Volume is a bit low, actually.
How we work.
It's not very clear.
That's where we have to get back to what process mapping really is. Process mapping is a common way of showing how we work and how work flows. And for this, we only need 4 elements. We don't need the 55 elements that some techniques used. We just need 4. And these 4 we're going to go through today. We start with roles, because roles are what matter to people. They show who is responsible for what. And that's what people really care about. It's also where some things typically go wrong, not because individuals make mistakes, but because handoffs between roles are not done correctly. So a role is like a hat or a t-shirt you can wear. It's not your job title, but it's a job function that you can fulfill.
He's trying to explain the agile terminology as well in a scenario. Roles are basically the actors, or roles are a set of actors which are basically interacting with the system. Okay.
So now we're ready to start. To prepare, I've created a process canvas. I have a swim lanes, and I have a process lane, and I have a process outcome. The process in this case is customer complaints. And I've chosen to call it handle.
This is an example of a support system. So this is kind of new for us, but this is a kind of learning or, on top of whatever we're trying to learn as a workflow diagram. So this guy is going to plan support bench. Have you heard of support bench, or have you heard of like we call credits, credit card company, we call bank, we call our car insurance company, or for that matters cars, like how to add this accessory, how to use this accessory. So those kind of supports are being planned, and these are planned in the workflow diagrams, not a standard tool, but yes, sometimes many product company use it. So we need to understand at least superficially how it works, and in what scenario or in what environment we normally use workflow diagram. So if you start working with something like product company or a support company which normally excels in support services, so there we might basically learn how to build this workflow we might use this diagram, but there could be as simple as it's a kind of extension of use case diagram. So if you know use case diagram well, this is a kind of piece of cake for you. Okay, so let's try to understand.
Because it's important that we use an active form. This is something that people relate to much better. Also, we have an outcome. In this case, a happy customer. This sets the objective of the process. It's very important to scope the process so that we don't have a process that becomes.
Yeah, and this is Australian accent, so pardon me for that. So it's a kind of bit of different English as well for us altogether.
Too long. Then we have swim lanes. The swim lane shows what each role is responsible for. In this case, we have 3 roles: the customer, the service representative, and the supervisor. So when we map the process and we place activities inside the swim lanes, then we know exactly what each role is responsible for, and then we can connect our people to our roles, and then we know what each person is responsible for. So this is essentially the basis that we start with, and these are the first building block, which is the swim lane. So now we need to talk about what starts the process. That's what we call an event. In this case, the event is customer complaints. So event is drawn like a circle, and it has some kind of a name that explains it. So in this case, customer complaints. I place this with the customer because he's the one who starts the process. But events are typically external events, something that impact the process, starts and finishing. So it's not exactly part of the process, but it's more showing where the process comes from. Of course, this could be another process as well, but event is always used to start and finish.
This is like whenever we start a call, so we have to make a call, right? So that's a kind of activity which we're doing. It's a part of process which is depicted by start in our flow chart or activity diagram as well. So this is like similar depiction. Now all the tools have pretty much similar depiction or similar symbolic gestures used normally. Only thing is that we need to understand the difference of its application, right? So here we are trying to explain the support bench. We are trying to explain a support services which are going to get suggested to the users, suggested to the participant, and we are trying to understand in depth to a level where this tool can allow us. So these tools are basically fit for certain specific type of product, project, services. So this is a kind of support services supporting tool, right? So we're trying to understand these workflow diagrams as a combination of symbols which a typical business analyst use. It can be from use case, it can be from activity diagram, and how this mix and match work. So on a larger scale or a bird eye view, as a business analyst, I want to understand the symbols and the usage of it, mota, right? So that's also kind of underlying idea which this video depicts for us.
So now we're going to talk about the third shape. We talked about the event that starts our process that has happened, the customer has complained, and now the customer service department needs to do something about it. That's where the activity shape comes in. An activity is kind of it's not even a task, it's a bit bigger than a task, it's a job to do. So it may contain multiple tasks, it may last anywhere in between a few minutes to several hours, but it is the work of one role. So in this case, we have the service representative needs to accept the complaint. He needs to triage it, understand what's going on, possibly pass it on to others. If it's for him, he needs to handle it. We split this into two different activities so they can be allocated to different roles if need be. But these are the activities. Now we've talked about swim lanes or the roles that show people that are involved. We talked about the events that start the process. We talked about the activities that contain the work. And now we're going to talk a bit about the decisions that happen in the process. These are important to get into the canvas because they show when to proceed with one activity rather than the other activity. In this case, it may be that the customer service representative was not able to handle the complaint the first time. So he needs to make a decision. Is it resolved? Yes, then he can pass it on to the customer. And the customer has to accept and acknowledge it. Or he has to escalate it to a third level and to a supervisor. So this is what the decision does. It really shows how the process splits and the criteria for splitting. So the next step you need to take from here is you need to create your work instructions. Now you have the overview of who does what, and the how is something you have to associate with each activity. So this may be, for instance, specifically who should I talk to for certain activities. It could be what is the documentation, the work instruction that I need in order to complete the steps for this activity. What are the systems I need? How do I need to use them? There may be videos, images, and so on. But this is underneath the process diagram, your process map. This is inside the activity, the how. This is what
for all these activities, there should be a separate process canvas. I don't know why he tried to push everything into the supervisor lane. Supervisor's work is basically different. Supervisor work is basically to support the service representative in exceptional scenarios. That's the box. It can, overall depicted, that must be depicted there. But he have gone to another canvas creations from that accept complaint, swim lane. And I don't know why he's included in the supervisor. This is a kind of wrong overall. Or the way he's explaining is he gone too deep into the problem rather than going by the tools discipline as well. So this thing also happens, and we need to shy away from doing these things. So let's try to understand here rather than I don't want to criticize him, but whatever he done is not the way the tools should be used. Okay. So I just want you to remember and try to understand if the others are doing wrong, and we can guide them, or we can be better in some tools, whichever we use. So it's basically getting ourselves matured, getting ourselves understand how the tool performs and what things are not in line with the thought process of the tool, because each and every tool has itself a vision, right? They had certain disciplines which we should follow in a normal scenario. That could be exceptions. So this is a kind of exception which he's trying to depict.
So you of course noticed that I've used a whiteboard. The whiteboard is great for these initial drawings, the initial brainstorming around the process. But where do you go from here? Can you take a photo of this and share? It's not very practical if decisions change, if activities change. You need at this point to put it into an electronic format that is collaborative. That's the only way forward, because your process is very likely to change when it meets reality. This is just the as-is process that we think it is today. But once we involve real representatives of the service department, of the supervisors, perhaps also the customer, then things will change. And that's where we need to be very adaptive and where we need a format that is easy to change.
Any confusion, any contradiction at this moment? Any questions for me?
This looks like a workflow diagram, but he has divided it into 3 different parts.
This is a workflow diagram. That's right.
Okay.
Activity diagram. I know, I can understand. It's an activity diagram. And yes, it's basically shared across as in the product flows. That's what I told you. Like means if you look at it as a team meeting process, right? You start with getting the pot first. So get the pot first, put in water, right? That's the next step we follow. So as an actor, the first lane, second lane, tap, can be an, supporting parameter in my next work lane. So I'll collect water in my teapot, right? And then put it on a gas, start the gas. Then I basically put tea powder. Means the sequence can vary. But if you understand who is starting is as an use case or as an as an actor executing that use case. So this is basically, you know, use cases getting executed horizontally in a sequence by these actors in a nutshell, frankly speaking.
Okay, so in this part, if it's a customer, in the language, customer can be a stakeholder, and service rep will be a business analyst, and supervisor will be a program manager.
Can be. That can be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. These are all actors, frankly speaking. And the swim lane is basically the activity they perform, or they are, you know, kind of crucial part too.
So we can choose any diagram, or how
No,
it works?
Yeah, it depends on the organization you work for.
Okay.
In a given matured IT organization, standard is use case and Excel sheet and, you know, Word document. These three supports all the things you need in a product, for a product to be envisioned, to be presented to. These are the tools like, you know, workflow diagrams are mostly for support scenarios, because in support, who does what is more important in executional sense rather than in a response sense. I don't know how to put it. I'm falling short of English basically. कौन क्या करता है कौन से समय पे, ये सपोर्ट में ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. प्रोडक्ट में कौन कैसे करता है ये ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो हु डज व्हाट एट व्हाट टाइम इज बेसिकली प्रोडक्ट प्रोजेक्ट. Support is basically who does what in which situation, which environment, right? If it's escalated environment, if it's basically just the common execution, like कोई मेरे को पूछ रहा है कि मेरा नाम अगर बोल्ड में छापा जाए क्रेडिट कार्ड पे, so that's a normal request. It's a kind of aesthetic requirement or non-priority requirement. Or I need a blue card, I need a platinum card, I need this card and that card. That's a kind of normal support request they get day in day out. But normally exceptional support request is like, यार मेरे को मेरे नाम का R और P कैपिटल और बोल्ड चाहिए, तो बोलेंगे नहीं यार साहब ये नहीं होता है. So this kind of scenario. So as in level of execution, these are exemplary out of the box kind of requests which supervisor handles. This is what we call escalation, which if you want to depict in a use case diagram, it will be kind of includes and, you know, extend and, you know, or no sorry, those she explains, right? If you register or unregister users, then whatever supporting scenarios he or the login field, I believe. Yeah, in the use case diagram she explains the login field and, you know, login success. Those kind of special cases have been have to be described in depth in support scenario. Are you getting me, or am I confusing you?
So means workflow diagram we will use if there is any escalation or if there is any problem. So we use this kind of diagram, and in normal scenario we will use our use case diagram.
No, I'm not agreeing with that. But overall, normally we use use case diagram. Workflows diagram are normally, you know, kind of fishbone diagram, right? So there are certain companies who use those diagrams. Not a normal company. Means if you join Infosys, workflow diagrams are not common unless you are developing really crucial support services for a product.
Okay,
Let's say,
so we need to focus only on use case diagrams. These are just the secondary diagrams we are learning.
Good to have. Good to have. Okay, good to like have. Fishbone, Ishikawa, and all those band party of, you know, bandwagons of diagram.
Okay, sounds good.
Sure. Any other questions on this? I'll take it as a no. I'll go ahead. Okay. I'll just stop share. I'll start share with the. Okay. So these are the workflow diagram we've seen overall. And yes, this is the what I can say most discussed about analysis in you know, typical IT world only. But these are mostly not used by anybody. But it's like, you know, kind of a dress which you wear in once in a year altogether. अपना एक शादी का सूट रहता है, राइट? अपन साल में एक दो बार पहनते हैं कभी कभी. So this is something like that. So if there's any particular client or any particular CIO, CTO wants to, you know, use this PEST analysis, they call it PEST as well. So this is a really least favorite thing, and I believe not most complicated, but it's difficult to understand, difficult to learn. So that's why I put it at the end of, you know, this whole bandwagon of tools. Again, this is not a necessity. It's good to have or good to know. So if you like it, you can, venture more. If the organization has as in practice, they will train you on that. Okay. And again, what are, which type of tools you use, which type of, tools you need to learn, they'll, guide you on that. But yes, this is, you should understand, this is also one of the analysis tool. Whenever you do interview, they might ask you like, which are the analysis tool you have heard or you would like you use. So you can, name all these, 4 or 5 tools, or rather 6 or 7, I believe there. So, this makes the interviewing person, okay, yeah, this guy knows the tools, at least on a name basis. Means forget about the comparison and detail, PhD of it or doctorate of it. But overall, know on the face value, try to understand. So if these tools, any organization in particular uses in an exceptional scenario, they'll also feel proud. Okay, my tool is not that left out, and this resource not. This is how it happens, right? Whenever you give interview, the words whatever you say, if they are really preferred by the interviewer, you get selected then and there. So you don't normally go through half an hour interview of discussions and all. If you say pestle analysis, and if the guy who is in the team who is basically a decision authority, happens in many cases. So if you say pest analysis, he'll say, okay, guess migraine, done, next candidate. So this happens. So that's why knowing this name of the tool is important. So whenever we will prepare for interview, we will basically have a look at these names, just names only, so that whenever you say interview, you can say, okay, I've worked on pest, but I'm not a really good fan. I've used pest, I think, in once or twice in my life. It was good tool, a bit complex tool, and it basically talks about political, economic, social, technology factors and the overall priorities based on that. If you say these 2 lines, the other guy will say, okay, close down the interview, this guy is selected, let's move it. This is happens, and business analysis is evolving, still evolving role. So whenever your Kundali matches with his Kundali, it's like a kind of match, 1-to-1 match, and then the interview stop and you got selected. So these are the things, these are the two, like fishbone diagram, the Ishikawa diagram. Whenever the other person, the other interviewer on other side have very keen interest in such diagrams or such specific tool, he'll just say, okay, let's go ahead, this is done, and this is really great candidate, and let's start the further process. So that's why these tools know-how is important to us, and that's why I've included in this training. Okay, let's try to understand the pest analysis through this video, because it will give you a clear and crisp idea. Let me start that thing. Pest analysis. Where's this pest? To me, pest sound like pest control kind of scenario. Sorry, but on a lighter scale. Yes.
Hello and welcome to today's lesson.
Wait, let me share this. App. Not work for man. Come on. I to share. Okay. Could you see the screen pest analysis?
Where we're looking at pest.
Yeah.
Could you hear this video?
Yes. Pestle analysis, which is a tool that can help you understand the macro environment in which an organization functions. Now, suppose a company is considering 2 options. Should it develop a new product, or should it expand into a new country? How would a company decide which option?
So this is a business problem now. So let's say sales director wants to understand if you want to go to Spain to implement this new enhanced attendance management system, or should we deploy it on a cloud and then just extend a hand there. So these are the kind of business problems which are into decision making. Now, how to support these claims, how to validate these requirements, this tool can be used, right? So this is again a requirement qualification tool or requirements prioritization scenario tool, where we present it in a scenario where we try to understand the difference in between a low level priority and a high level priority, or really greatly qualified requirement, or okay, good to have requirement, those kind of scenarios. Okay, let's try to understand from this guy.
Opportunity is the right one to pursue. Where would you even start in answering this kind of big strategic question? Well, a pest analysis can be a useful tool in answering these big strategic questions. Now, PEST is an acronym standing for Political, Economic, Social and Technological, and sometimes you'll see it referred to as pestle analysis, which is essentially the same analysis, but where you add legal and environmental factors. Now, PEST provides a view of the different macroeconomic issues that might affect an organization. And the idea is that by understanding what's changing in the world around you, you'll be better able to make good strategic decisions. Now, this is sometimes known as environmental scanning, and it is an input to setting strategy. Before we look at pest analysis in detail, let's take a quick step back and look at the big picture to give you some context. You can think of a company's environment consisting of 3 levels. Now, these 3 levels are the internal environment, the micro environment, and the macro environment. Now, the internal environment consists of factors that are internal to the organization, so things like employees, assets, technology systems, etc. The next level is the micro environment. Now, these are factors outside the company, but they're still very closely related to the company. So these are things like suppliers, buyers, competitors, and subcontractors. And the final level is the macro environment. And these are factors that can influence the organization, but the organization itself has no control over these factors. So these are things like political factors, economic factors, social and technological factors. Now, these are the factors that are pest.
Just to add to that, even this sample is, looks a bit very deviated from our normal thought process, right? So we can understand this is really far and few used tools, not regularly used in many organizations. That's why, I kept as an addition. Only it's like, good to know. So in case during interview or during your, work, if you came across a client or you came across an organization where they use this tool, you should know the basics and they will train you on that. So not, even I'm not a big fan of pest analysis, but still it's a kind of, used tools in almost, I think 2 to 3% of certain organizations, not IT, but overall, I believe these are strategic organizations, or how do I put it? The multinational organizations, and so on. So, yeah. Any question here? Okay, I'll go ahead.
Analysis will examine. Now, before you decide what your strategy is going to be, it's a good idea to use strategy tools at all 3 levels. So, for example, at the internal level, you might use a SWOT analysis, or at the micro level, you might use Porter's 5 forces, for example. But what we're doing today is we're looking at this macro level using a pest analysis. Now, the aim of a pest analysis is to collect information about macroeconomic factors to gain insight, and this insight can then be used to make better decisions. So first we have political factors. Politics and the action of a government has a huge impact on how businesses conduct themselves. It also determines how favorable a country is to do business within. This part of a pest analysis is about understanding how shifts in political power structures might impact your business. So, for example, consider a country where the government introduces a new piece of legislation stating that all companies must be carbon neutral within 7 years. For some businesses, that's going to result in increased costs, but for other businesses, that might provide a huge opportunity in that country. Next, we have economic factors. And the economic factors part of a pest analysis concerns understanding the economic prospects for a country. So, for example, you want to look at shifting demographics, fiscal policy, market demand, interest rates, and how infrastructure is improving. And using this information, you can then determine if it makes sense to operate within this country or within this region. So, for example, the economy of China has grown massively over the last 2 decades, and that's evidenced by high GDP growth almost every year. And this GDP growth combines with a huge internal market of well over 1 billion people. And those 2 factors combined present a huge opportunity for many firms, especially because many Western markets are saturated. It's hard to grow. Next, we have social factors. So these include all factors that are social or cultural within a particular country or particular society. So they include things like career expectations, lifestyle preferences, education levels, attitudes, and entrepreneurial spirit. So, for example, in France, it's still a very common practice for employees to take a 2-hour lunch break. In China,
let me add these things. Lunch break in France, it's pain in wrong place. You can't talk, you can't make noise. Even if your fork or knife touches the plate, everybody looks at you like this guy came from Stone Age. Believe me. Means, have any of you been to France or had a dinner or lunch with French people?
No, not me.
Even if you have a look at French movies, you'll feel that, I don't know why they bloody make it such a difficult task to have lunch or dinner. You couldn't speak. And in India, we used to do lunch and dinner together. Means even in today's joint family area also, we have quite a few good disciplines where they have dinner together at least once a day. So you meet and greet everybody, and it happens only on dinner table. Means okay, तूने क्या किया, मैंने ये किया, and why now. So all these scenarios, discussions happen on dinner table. And in France, they are totally against or opposite of all. So they don't talk while eating food. They don't really make noises while eating food. So it's really, that's why it's really great to understand such exceptional factors. And then if you want to build such exceptional factors within your product vision, you normally use something like this exceptional analysis method called PEST analyst. So let's try to relate this. And on a lighter note, I don't have anything against French, but this is how the culture has been evolved. In Urdu, we write, everybody writes left to right. In Urdu, we write right to left. I don't know why the hell you do this thing, but yeah, these processes are, these type of exceptions are there, and that's how we feel ease with one and uneasiness with others. So this is a kind of part and parcel. So some of these tools you really get connect with, or you see, okay, I can explain myself much better in this tool. This also happens. So this is how we get to know the tool. We get to have a favorite tool as well. So there are some tools which you like whenever you start working, and there are some tools which is this didn't suit my personality. So this also happens. Same thing with your boss, same thing with your boss, and so on and so forth. So there are many tools which are implemented in an organization because he or she is really leading the department. So that's why we need to understand a couple of these tools so that you will be not in contradiction but in alignment overall. Alignment with the reporting authorities and overall the hierarchy of the organization as well. Okay, so that's the overall importance of all these tools, and that's how expressing a tool is just a tool. So just respect it at that level, but yeah, try to know the gist, whatever you like or whatever you prefer in this tool, something like that. Okay, am I confusing you further, or are we good?
I'm good.
Okay, let's go.
Spirit. So, for example, in France, it's still very common practice for employees to take a 2-hour lunch break. In China, office workers expect to receive a promotion every year. Now, to be successful, businesses simply need to understand these nuances, if they're going to thrive. Next, we have technological factors, and these mean big technology shifts. Now, rapid technological change has impacted many businesses since the Industrial Revolution, and technological factors can influence how you deliver your product or service to the market. Now, they can affect both your consumers and the company itself. So, for example, does increased smartphone and broadband usage offer new opportunities for products, or does increased automation make a previously uneconomic market finally accessible? Now, technological change is obviously vital to staying competitive. From the Industrial Revolution to the present day, it's been a driving force behind globalization. The basic process to perform a pest analysis is as follows. So firstly, determine the most important pest factors to collect. Now, there is an almost infinite number of factors that you could collect to perform your pest analysis, but the key to a successful pest analysis is to begin by determining which are the most important factors for your organization. And the companion article to this video, which I've linked to below the video, provides a big list of factors you might want to consider collecting to get you started. Now, step 2 is to collect the information. So once you have determined the factors you want to collect, the next step is to agree who's going to be responsible for collecting each factor and by when. Step 3 is to analyze the data. So now that you've collected the data, you should have good insight into the major trends that are taking place. So it's now time to analyze your data and see how that's going to impact your organization. Now, this step commonly takes place in the form of a brainstorming session. And in the session, you look for, firstly, opportunities. What trends can you see in the data that could provide an opportunity for your business? And secondly, threats. What trends can you see in the data that have the potential to undermine or jeopardize your business? Now, you might find it useful to weigh each of the factors according to how important it is to your business, and that's going to highlight the most important factors, which again helps you make better decisions. And the final step is to take action. So once you've completed the pest, you're rarely immediately able to take action, as it turns out. And that's because, as we described at the beginning of the video, pest analysis is just an input to the strategy process. There's many other factors you may need to consider before deciding your strategy. But one important thing to do is to decide which factors you will track on an ongoing basis. You should not just track the data, but agree when it will be reviewed again. Now, some common pitfalls to avoid when conducting your pest analysis include making assumptions rather than collecting hard facts, trying to collect too much data, as we've already mentioned. There's an almost infinite number of factors you could collect, as we've said. Now, also conducting your pest analysis and then forgetting about it is a big pitfall. Factors that are important to your business should be tracked and monitored over time. And finally, thinking that a pest analysis is all you need to do to formulate your strategy for a market. It isn't. As we've already covered, a pest analysis is just one input to strategy creation. So here we have an example of a completed pest analysis. And in this example, we've created a pest analysis for a company that is considering launching its electric car in the United Kingdom. Now, as you can see from the image, we've collected many macroeconomic factors that could potentially have a huge impact on our electric car business, including government policies are very favorable. The local population strives to be environmentally friendly, and this is especially true for young people. And finally, the low range of electric cars is putting off consumers right now. Now, what we can do is we can then use these really important macroeconomic factors to help shape the strategy of our business. So in summary, pest analysis involves scanning different macroeconomic factors to understand long-term trends. And from this, you can understand how these trends might impact on your business. Now, it helps you avoid macroeconomic data overload because you have to decide what factors are the most important for you to collect, what factors are the most important for your business. And this data can then be used to help you take advantage of opportunities locally whilst avoiding threats. Now, the basic idea, as we said at the beginning of the video, is that by having a better understanding of what's happening in the world around you, you will be able to make better strategic decisions. So that's it for this lesson. Really hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yes, so, all in all, I believe I've used pest analysis when we were work for West Midland Police UK department to set up their content management system. It's a kind of website inclusions we did for them. And there was some, Mr. Somebody who was really using this pest analysis and, using this tool to basically, qualify those requirements or qualify those needs for the implementation and the addition and inclusion of, those things. So he used these tools and he made us also use these tools. as a pestle analysis, and they had their own software which they have developed, which we used as in pestle analysis. So whenever you used to key in a requirement, it used to filter down all these 4 different factors, and then you give a score to it, saying this is a top, this is a you grade those rather than score, you grade those requirement across this political, economic, social and technological factors, and that's how you qualify it, larger sense, lower sense, and so on. So you put these priorities, you put this scenario, and present it to all stakeholders so that we could decide to go ahead or not to go ahead, or to go ahead in this versions or to go ahead in the next version, next release of this product. Okay, so these kind of qualification things we use in pestle analysis. Okay, now there are this is also part of system requirement specification quite a few times. These are called high level diagram. Now this is a bit complex scenario. I put it last because this is contradicting with quite a few template makers and even quite a few software companies as well. Infosys use HLD as in part of SRS as well as functional specification, but these are done by the solution architects mostly, predominantly in Infosys. In certain company, in Microsoft, the business analysts do the high level diagram, so it's a part of SRS, and as an SRS author, BA does this HLD. Now, how this HLD functions? On a theoretical scale, on a philosophical level, these are just the blocks which are interacting with each other. So these are the diagrams where if I want to have a school management system, what I'll do, I'll first think about 5 main functionalities which I want to implement. So school management system. So we have attendance in a school, we have classes in the school, we'll have holidays in the school, we'll have school counselors, we'll have professors or teachers, and we'll have a library. So I have these 4 or 6 blocks, and I'll basically depict the corresponding interaction between them with the arrows and those things. There's no specific template for high level diagrams, but we learn as the organization have implemented in it, because HLD diagrams are just a depiction of the overall validated functionality into a block or a conceptual block where I try to understand the dependency on other system, dependency on existing system, and number of different elements which I am including in my current system. Okay, so this is really not a disciplined way of depicting the requirement or depicting the overall business implementation, but it's overall a theoretical process, or this is kind of PowerPoint slide which we use to talk a lot or explain it in a non disciplined sense. So all these things are basically kind of wrapper all with all the use case, other diagrams you did. So you present an HLD at the end of the overall business solution. So you present this as a wrapper to overall the diagrams or the tools we used as a business analyst. This is not a disciplined way. Some use it in a very higher scale. Some basically shift the ownership to the other teams which are going to get implemented, because now we are going in detail of implementation of that project, support or service. So this is a kind of overall a conclusive remark or a summary remarks of a BA, which he or she can put it in bullet points or a box or a logical conceptual box interacting with each other, including the environment which the whole system is going to fit in. In our attendance management scenario, as we discussed, as we talked about, there's an older attendance management system of a register and a signature and a supervisory observation, right? So how this new system is going to interact with that? Okay, now we need to digitize those registered or the logbooks of the employee in and out, so that we'll have the historical data in our current system of iris scanner and body scanner, because there's a technological gap in between. But we as a development partner need to suggest, need to share the details of connecting with the history scenarios. Are you getting me, or am I going fast? This is easy enough, right? This is a kind of summary level diagrams or summary level bullet points business analysts put in SRS. Normally it's owned by business analyst, but can be, extended to low level diagrams in a functional specification where we have nth level detail of each and every functionality implemented. So this is a kind of base of technical deployments in a summarized format. This is a logical diagram. There's no technical implementation most of the time, but you might include something like legacy system or specific database if they need some interaction or the information pushed to, because let's say State Farm has something called SAP. It's a enterprise software. SAP is kind of what you call enterprise resource ERP, enterprise resource planning. It's a software normally implemented by very good old companies, which used to have quite a few systems inbuilt it, like invoicing, payroll processing, and so on. So there are around 19 such functionalities of SAP supports, right? So those kind of scenario has to have data from your system, right? Because you are managing the attendance, you are managing the overall validated attendance records, which needs to be pushed to this SAP system. So I will have to mention the SAP in my HLD, saying there's an arrow going towards SAP, a daily data push or daily data synchronization to SAP, so that SAP did what it was doing from last 20 years. So we need to consider as an BA the environment which where we are going to implement this tool and how it's going to work with the other existing scenario. So that's why the HLD diagrams are used. So this is the prime need of HLD diagram to understand how it fits into the whole puzzle and what are the basic mota interaction with the system within itself. So we have an iris scanner. So I'll have a box of iris scanner where the function is basically scan the iris of each and every attendee in the morning. Then I'll have the other system, other dabba, other box saying SAP, and I'll put an arrow from my system boundary to his system boundary saying, okay, now this SAP has to be updated from my data almost on hourly basis, on minutely basis, on real time, or at least once a day, right? So these are the synchronization levels which we use for data sharing with other systems. We'll talk about this in Scrum, where we normally build these diagrams, and when we basically push this thing in the requirement, as in the business requirement, right? So those kind of scenario we're discussing about. Okay, so this basically explain the architecture that will be used for developing a software product. Mostly HLD used in software company, and they use in considerable depth in a typical product scenario. Then we have architectural diagrams that provides overview of entire system. So we are talking about a kind of fairly bigger diagram identifying the main components would be developed for the product and their interfaces, right? And HLD is basically non-technical or mildly technical, because we are labeling some technical systems which the current proposed system is going to get interacted with, right? So those kind of scenarios. So there could be some mildly technical terms we used as a business architect, because we need to understand what client is working on, what State Farm is working on as in current attendance system, and whatever the new system is going to get interactive with the current other existing system which are existed in my client place or where my product is going to get implemented, right? And then we have then this is basically a base for low level design, which is detailed to nth level program element development for the programmers or for the architects which building the exact product for the client. And this is overall, as I clearly told you, it's an overview of a system which we are depicting in conceptual logical boxes. The highest level should be briefly have just one box which describes the platform, system, product, services name. So I'll just have one big box saying attendance management system advancement. And in that, I might have one simple box saying employee attendance management system to be enabled with biometric. So overall a business analyst or a CEO city will know, okay, this is what is planned within this system. So big group and there's a subgroup or there's an element of that group. That's how I normally depict the high level system, high level diagram. Okay. And every type of end user should be identified. So I'll try to put down all the actor names on the left hand side or somewhere where I'm trying to understand how many users are going to interact with the system. Okay, that's the overall need, theoretical need and practical need as well for that matter. So every type of end user should be identified in the high level design, and contributing design should give consideration to the customer experience as well. So we normally try to justify the user's usage of a system from his angle. So every employee which is going to use the attendance management system has to be considered whenever we're trying to build the attendance management system enhancement. Any confusion at this moment? Any anything you want to understand in depth?
I understand.
I'll take it as a good to go. Okay. Now this is a overall diagram I have created as an high level diagram for attendance system enhancement planned for State Farm by Infosys. Okay. So even my SRS can have this diagram. So what I'm trying to do, we have a current attendance system manual. So this dark blue navy blocks trying to depict the current scenario at State Farm. Okay. Now these two blocks are basically kind of list of functionality which are prime need of my solution. So first let's try to understand the blue box, the navy blue blocks. That's the current scenario of State Farm. So I'm trying to understand current attendance system which is manual. So every employee enters to the office, signs the register, which is supervised by the supervisor, and he might ask for identity or photo ID card or some photo identity to verify that you are Ravindra Pandey. Okay, and those kind of scenario. So these are basically old system which are existing, and I'm trying to enhance it with this, right two blocks, right? So then even I need to understand how to conversion of these digital conversion to digital system by HR has to be done, because they want to have their older data, right? Because if I want to know how many leaves Ravindra Pandey have been taken in last 2 years, so that I could really club it with the privilege leave formulas and all those things, because employee leave calculation is not as simple as it looks. I believe there are certain HR experts in our group, so we might know whenever an employee take a leave, he has to be the leave has to be validated against the available leaves, and there are different type of leaves which are basically have different calculation inbuilt in them. So there are casual leave, optional leave, sick leave, privilege leave, and so on and so forth. So these leaves have to be validated against the quota existing, and for that we need history, like how many years Ravindra Pandey has been working, how many leaves he've taken in the current quarter, last quarter, and so on and so forth. So those history record has to be converted, and as an BA I need to understand this, and I need to include this in my SRS. So okay, historical data conversion has a functionality implementation in my SRS. So I need to have that requirement as a requirement. Okay, are you getting me? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say here?
Yep.
Yes.
So we are now putting on the BA's shoes and started thinking like BA. Okay, so when you can understand this thing, you are a BA by yourself. Okay, and then how the old legacy system have been failed, why it's time consuming, why it's error prone. So a guy working in Bloomington goes to guy working in Urbana Champaign. These are both factories, corporate offices of State Farm in Illinois State. And when one employee goes to another factory or another corporate office, the attendance system goes for a toss. So he has to either submit a proof or email, or basically present an approval to the other factory or attendance management system, or to this where he was normally working day in day out. So those kind of synchronization is a nightmare when you have that paper-based system. As an BA, I have to understand that. As an BA, I need to really sort out such problems for State Farm. Okay, and then how many officers do I need to synchronize? Because they say, okay, the attendance management system in North America is totally independent from the attendance management system in Spain, in India, in Europe. So I have to have all the independence database, all the independent data points, so that if I need, I can get. If I don't need, I'll not synchronize. So what are the synchronization point? What are the not synchronization point? That as an BA, I need to understand. And this is how I evolve the requirement. This is how I elicit the requirement. This is how I learn the requirement. I build my document on based on those requirement, clarification, validation, and priorities. Okay. Any confusion at this moment?
Okay.
So, this we have discussed the existing system. Now let's move to the wish list. Let's move to the thought process, whatever they want to do. And I need to build the SRS on this boxes which we are depicted on right hand side. So the first and foremost request, it needs to be cloud based. Now many of you might not know what is cloud. Cloud is basically a typical storage we use via mobile, laptop, or any other means where we can store our file, right? Normally whenever you work for organization have their own cloud, own storage space wherever your documents go and reside. When you basically share them, when you basically make them ready to share across the team. So this is a kind of storage. The best or the advantages of cloud is it's on by 24/7. So this is a kind of computer you can imagine which is on for 24/7, 365 a day. So there's no holiday or downtime. Theoretically, practically, there's a 2 to 3 year downtime a year. That's really normal practice, because they also update their system and blah 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 stuff. They really intimate you well in advance so that you can cope up with the blockout or unavailability of cloud. And it's automatic. So as and when you have the required credential, you can log into the system and access your document. Microsoft Office 360 does it automatically for you. So whenever you log into your laptop, he checks with the cloud service provider, "Okay, boss, are your door open to retrieve the storage or push the storage?" The system will say, "Okay, yes, you can do that." So whenever you open an Excel sheet on the cloud, it pulls from the cloud storage, and whenever you update it, it's synchronized with the cloud storage. Okay. Now why State Farm want to use it? Because a system accessed worldwide, accessed globally on for 24/7 is really what they're looking for in terms of technological advancement. And that's why it's become a prime need. Okay. And this is what they call enhancement, right? Then let's try to look at the other requirements they've seen. They want to have a biometric scanner. They want to have an iris scanner. They want to have a leave management system also. They want to have a standard data distribution. They want to have alerts. They want to have approvals. They want to have an unified system all over the globe and a central command, so that the system is being administered by a central command sitting at their Urbana-Champaign office, which is their headquarters, corporate headquarters. Okay, so let's have a look at it one by one. We have a biometric scanner. So they could start with something like fingerprint scanner, which has some challenges. Then we can start with iris scanner. They have another set of challenges, and so on and so forth. So these are the ways and means supported by the client or wished by the client, and we have to include it in our document, saying, okay, biometric scanner. So what are the challenges? Okay, there could be old age employees which have their fingers couldn't really recognize the identification mark required by the biometric scanners. Iris scanner, there could be light blue eyes employee which couldn't be scanned by Philips scanner, so I need to have Sony scanners. Leave management, yes, I need to understand the old leave management, push and pull the data from the requested system as well. Then standard data distribution, so I need to share my data with the other system which are existing, right? I need to post alerts in the scenario. Employee, okay, there's a leave coming 3 days from now, and we have to approve in certain emergency staff so that they could take a leave, or intimate them that they had to be present in some specific shifts or so, because all the factories, all the production houses over the globe, they have certain critical staff required on holidays as well. You can understand it by something like police working on weekends. They have extra load, right? Even traffic police for that matters. So these things have to be managed. These thing has to be understood in terms of how your application is going to get scoped or evolved in terms of requirement elicitation, right? Okay, wait a minute. Rudra has something. Aesthetics is looks like more. I forget to tell you. Really good class. Thank you. Sorry for the disturbing you. Pranavji is trying to say something. Pawan. Okay. Sorry. I normally get into the overall talking and goes on talking. So could you please paste your questions in the chat, or you can say it aloud. No challenge there. Rudra messaged to group. No, Rudra messaged to me on behalf of Pawanji. Is there some? Pawniji. Okay. Pawniji, yeah. Could you please ask your question?
No, I don't have any question. I'm fine. Fine.
Okay, you're fine. Okay, please feel free to ask question and shout if I don't respond. I know this is not really good practice, but it's like overall, that's kind of me. If I'm start explaining, I basically keep going on. Okay. Almost 9:30. Okay, let me wrap up on this thing. So HLD, we need to include this as a part of SRS, so that every business user can validate these bullet points, can understand like his wish list is addressed. Every of these things might not reflect as a functionality to FRS, but these are basically for approval of business people, approval of client stakeholders, so that because there are critical people who is going to approve your SRS needs to appraise in requirement gathering, right? So this is how we appraise them in requirement gathering. Say there's a client project manager or client VP of HR system called Keshav, and he says, I really like the Sony scanner, Sony Iris scanner, because I know it's working in my other company and blah blah blah. So you need to include the Iris scanner in bracket Sony Iris scanner / Philips Iris scanner. This is what basically being diplomatic as far as BA goes, right? We will discuss in detail in our last workshop how to be diplomatic, how to include these wish lists, because these guys approve your document. Getting approval is also a diplomatic process, and we need to follow those things. Okay, and we need to get aligned with the business. That's the predominantly what I can say overall thought process in the whole HLD diagrams. Okay, so I believe you understood this, right? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's try to understand this evolution of HLD in the next class. Okay, any questions for me at this moment?
Oh no, but actually the Irish scanner, it's supposed to be Iris scanner.
Oh, sorry, Iris. Sorry. Okay. Oh, pardon me for that. Oh. Yeah. Thanks a lot for bringing that up. So it should be IREIS, right? Iris.
No, just Iris.
How do you spell it? Iris, IRES. Okay, pardon me. Thanks for bringing that up, Rudra. So see, I'm also learning, and we learn together. So I don't feel bad, and please keep validating these things. Yeah. So we will evolve together. Okay. Any other question? Any other confusion at this moment?
No, nothing. And are you going to post in a group, right? What you record over today's class?
It'll take a couple of days, because we have certain teams, because you need to get legally validated and all those things. There are some copyright issues. They normally so this might take a couple of days to get posted in a group as far as today's class goes.
Okay then. Thank you.
Okay, I believe we have class till last weekend. That class, those things are available on the Facebook and YouTube channel, so you can have a look at that.
Yeah, sure. I'll go for mainly what you said, that active flow diagrams.
Yeah. Because all these things, whenever you distribute, there are certain challenges, right? You can't just distribute, because I talk on the flow, and there can be some contradiction with the other copyrights. So they normally validate this thing and then push this. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it takes like couple of times to revise, to understand it, what you said, all these things. So
I
that's why
know.
when in doubt, yeah, I can pass
This is
that
a kind
and
of personality, so don't worry on that part. And if you have any question, any confusion, you can ask then and there. Please don't worry about if I'm repeating anything or something like that sort. Okay. Any other questions for me right now?
I had one. So these classes, when you record them and post them, do they have I guess what I said and what everyone else said on there?
You mean to say whatever question you ask, does that get recorded? Yes, that get recorded.
And anybody can see it?
No, it's not for general public. Okay, in YouTube, Facebook, those videos are early 3-4 videos. That's what they are posted. Now they stop posting that thing, I think, from 18th November, if I'm not wrong. So whatever training we have after 18th November, they are not for general public. These are our internal sharing. So who are we can see here, like 8 participants. These are the only people who can see them. And of course that legal team, Devji, and I think couple of recruiters who are in that group. So this is a close display of session, so please don't worry, but still it has to be legally certified or legally relevant for distribution. That's why we have that checks and balances process. Okay, so don't take it wrong, it's a normal process we follow. There's nothing, only it takes a couple of days to get approved and all those things. This is a normal life. If you start working as a BA also, you'll have the approval normal takes a couple of days or sometimes a week also, and you need to pursue it diplomatically. And that's why we have these good green points or good buttering techniques, so that the approval say okay, मैंने बोला था वो आया उसमें, अरे सही है, मेरा पूरा मेंशन हुआ है, ठीक है, नाम गांव के साथ अप्रूव्ड, ये होता है. So this way we normally get it done in the fastest possible way. We try to make it more quicker, speedy approvals and those things also. So we got to learn these techniques as well. Okay, besides all these tools and all those other things. Any questions at this moment for me? I believe no. Let's okay, Pavni, do you have any question for me?
No, it's
okay.
It's okay, I'll watch that when you post the video in the group, so
sure.
we can do that again. And yeah,
sure. I'll share the that workflow diagram video so that you can have a look at it whenever you want. The paste analysis video also, but I don't really suggest you to dwell on it or really put your efforts in learning those. If you can watch, watch again that YouTube video for use case, and those video or even Excel video for that matters, those are the need and those are critical in being in BA rather than these one, because these training you're going to get it anyway whenever you join company with such specific tool needs. So if I were you, I will not really dwell on these videos, but it's good to have a look at it and have at the back of your mind what this tool does, where this tool is applicable to, and other those few factors. Okay, so I'll end this session right now. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm just asking. Are you going to say that use case
diagram? Yeah, good, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No problem. Okay. Then thanks a lot for you guys, and happy Diwali and happy journey for you as you travel to India. So let's be in touch, and we'll have our next session on today is Wednesday, right? So Thursday, Friday, right? So let's see you all on Friday. Take care and happy Diwali to you. Bye.
Yeah, happy Diwali, all of you.
Bye. Upanjali,
sorry,
Upanjali ji. Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So what happened with COVID and everything in India? Is there still like quarantine days? Like, are they making you do that or?
Yeah. There are. These are basically regional, challenges we have. I'll just stop the recording.